ruptured off the mountings as he's gone into the tyres. Not a major biff, but just enough to loosen the nose. And once you've done that, chances are it's not going to clip back on properly. There's the snatch vehicle. So quick snatch for him. And he'll be taken out and deposited on terra firma. And he had steering clearly, at least with one wheel. You could see him wiggling the wheel earlier on. So hopefully he'll be back in the pits in no more than sort of 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, it stays in the car, of course. They're lifting it rather than dragging it, so they don't get gravel inside the car and also don't drag gravel onto the track. Well,
there you see the slow zone in action, and there on the side, the illuminated panels that are the speed limit as well. So the illuminated panels do all sorts of stuff. Not only do they replicate the flag signals, which is useful at night when flags are invisible in the darkness. You can see there, look, alternate panels flashing. That's the waved yellow. So you saw the solid yellow at the beginning of the slow zone. You saw the 18-mile-an-hour restriction. It's going to go green here. Look for the white line beside the track there. Now you can go, and not beforehand, not an inch beforehand. Actually, it's a very well joined up system, and immediately out of the corner, blue lights flashing for the car in front to say, Buster, you've got a quick car behind you.
It's worked. It's a brilliant system, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it has worked extremely well. Congratulations to Eduardo de Freitas, to SGB, who've developed that with the ACO and for the WC. It's quite a lot of damage on that front corner there. We just saw Martin as he pulled it out, but it did seem to have his steering working. Yeah, and as long as you got steering, brakes and wheels, then you should be able to get it back to the pit. And engine, obviously, you know, can't pedal it that far, really. 253 laps completed. The Hulk is leading again at the moment because Trellio's handed over to Fassler. Seeing our top three in LMP2. First, the 48 Murphy's prototype, 26 G-Drive Ligier, and there's your leader, KCMG, still on top in the LMP2 class, having just pulled into the pits, in fact, Matt Howson, and I think that is Howson's third stop, so, or is it, no, I think it might be his second stop, actually. Matt Howson from Norwich, and we get another guy based in the Far East for quite a lot of his winter experience, of his racing experience. Raced in Formula Ford and Formula BMW in UK, Formula Asia, Formula 3, and then LMP2 last year in World Endurance, and this. Out goes really straight the KCMG car, in front of BR01. Not an unsafe release, though, since the BR run was only doing 60 kilometres an hour, 40 miles an hour. And in comes the car that's in fourth place. Aussie Mark Webber at the wheel. Door open. Filling up his drinks bottle. Cleaning everything that can be cleaned. So you can see the man still at the car with the fuel hose. Notice how everybody's got full fire suits, fireproof gloves, balaclavas, helmets, goggles, visor down on the fuel man, fire extinguishers there, earth strap is there. Any of those missing, absent, forgotten, unintendedly, penalty, drive-through penalty, likely as not. So they take this, the safety here very seriously, and we've seen a couple of flash fires in Ferraris in refueling in the pits. That's exactly the reason why. Days of getting all the hair singed off your legs when you're in shorts in the pit lane are long gone at Le Mans, and probably wisely so. I lived through them, but sometimes you did wonder when you're getting clumped from behind by car wings and fuel fires going off all over the place. We've even had fuel rigs being dragged down the pit lane.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So on board in the Corvette 64 car, that car currently, where is he currently running? In second.
Yeah. Was the leader until the last round of pit stops. Giancarlo Fisichella has just gone out of the pit, though. We saw the car there, and does that mean Jordan Taylor is in the lead? It does not, Jeremy, because he comes across the line now, and he stays in second place, so that has not flip-flopped back with pit stop.
He's shown 63 seconds behind at the moment, Jordan, and then another lap back from him. Michael Christensen now on board the 91 Pro Porsche. Michael, again, one of these Porsche juniors, been given his big break at Le Mans.
Ex-World Series and GP2 driver, raced Super Cup last season and a half. On board the 91 Porsche, see how the BR01, the S&P prototype, only just creeps by. These LMP2 cars do struggle to get by a GT car at top speed. Their top speeds are not at all dissimilar. Look at the way he's going away. It's the acceleration rather than the outright speed, and of course the cornering grip through places like the Porsche curves that makes the big difference. Well, Mark Cole brought with him Marker of Doom, son of Marker and Doom and grandson of Marker of Doom. I think Marker of Doom is going to survive yet another year. We wielded it over the 63 Corvette pre-race because that was crashed and would not take any part in proceedings. We have lost 2 P cars, 3 P cars. We have lost the 21 Nissan, we lost the 36 Signatech Alpine. It crashed during the night and shunted out of second place was the Thierry by TDS car in the LMP2 class. So those are 3 P cars, and we have lost 1, 2, 3, 4 GT cars. 2 Porsches burned their engines, 1 Corvette crashed, 1 Aston Martin of Darren Turner behind the safety car coughed out loads of smoke, and Darren pulled it off to the side of the road at Indianapolis, at Mulsanne rather, and started to wonder which was the shorter way to walk back, all the way via Tertre Rouge or all the way via Arnage. Well, either way you shave it, it's a long, long walk.
Nico Prost has got the car back to the pits, and they're just having a quick look round for safety, as you say, getting new nose on, checking everything else. Steering is obviously one of the main concerns, Jeremy, when that happens.
Yeah, any sort of frontal contact there, you noticed it into Tabo. It didn't seem to go in particularly hard, certainly, but they will certainly have a good look around there and make sure there's no collateral damage as a result of the nose cone being pushed back into the chassis.
Might also be a very slight question over why he skated off there. Likely to have been fatigue, driver error, gravel, slightly offline, yada, yada, yada. But very possibly he's gone in because he's gone for the brakes and the pedal has sort of gone almost to the floor before it locked up rather suddenly. So that's also behind that bodywork, the master cylinders and the reservoirs for the brake and clutch system.
On board again with our race leader, then Nico Hülkenberg is on the case again. 3 minutes 18.841 last time around. Another great lap by the German, relishing his drive here with the factory Porsche team
and trying to ensure that while ambient conditions are moderate and temperate and the Porsche is producing as much power as it possibly can from its hybrid system, that they capitalize on it fully. Of course, he doesn't have any option. It's producing maximum power. Later on, if it's not producing as much power in the heat of the day, he'll have no option but to not be able to go as quick as well. So you're kind of governed by the kit in a lot of ways, but these drivers are all very much aware that it's 100% attack all the way. Whatever the car's got to give, you take it and you run with it. Nico Hülkenberg, our race leader from Marcel Fassler. I was going to try and make something funny out of it, and then I tripped over my teeth anyway. Felipe Albuquerque in 3rd place. So it is Porsche Audi, as it has been for 6-8 hours. Mark Webber 4th in the 17 Porsche. Now his last lap involved a pit stop, so unrepresentative lap time at last time round, but he is right on the money in terms of sector times. First 3 cars in the race through sector 1, 31.8, 31.8, 31.4 seconds. Second sector is half the lap. 75 seconds for Nico Hülkenberg, 77 seconds for Felipe Albuquerque. So the Hulk certainly keeping the Porsche just out of harm's reach of any of the Audis at the moment.
He talked about the fact that we've had Porsche, Audi, Porsche for a long, long time, and the number 17 Porsche running in 4th place and has remained there since lap 136, and that was after Mark Webber picked up a penalty for speeding the pit lane, I think, wasn't it, at that stage?
Yeah.
That's what dropped him. He was dropped him from the lead into the 4th position at that point, and he's stayed there. He's been a lap down for much of the time, but still he's hanging on to the tail end of the lead lap right now.
Although interestingly, Jeremy, the Mark Howson car, KCMG, they got a penalty at the same time as Mark Webber, but for a pit stop infringement, we think one person too many. But they managed to take that penalty without losing the lead. They've held since they started the race from pole.
Well, they have
They lost it very briefly earlier on, I think, to the Tyrrell by TDS car.
They were swapping places for a while.
Early on, weren't they?
They've basically been out front, though.
Yeah, apart from pit stops, definitely.
It was just a couple. Once they took the lead in kind of the second stint, I think it probably was. They've been in control very much since then.
12 is back out, so damage was not severe, and whatever the underlying cause was, the consequences of it are not severe either. They are now down, however, to page 2 of the timing screen. The 13 car is still on page 1 in 15th place. Our timing screen, page 1, only goes down to 29th, so that tells you how far down they've fallen. Read the classification for yourself if they get that far down. He's 10th in class in the number 12 car, but Nico Prost quite a long way in actual terms on the road behind the sister car of Alexander Imperatori. GT class battles continue, featuring the same with 3 cars in the Pro class. Giancarlo Fisichella's Ferrari ahead of Jordan Taylor's Corvette and Michael Christensen's Porsche. Porsche in the AM class battle as well, as are Aston Martin. Pedro Lamy leads from Bertolini, and Pat Long is now in 3rd place ahead of Jeff Segal's Ferrari. So that's a move up for the 77 Patrick Dempsey racing car.
No, they've been in 3rd for a while, I think.
Yeah, Jeff Segal was there. Car was in front. Long was in 4th place before maybe the last set of stops.
Yeah, they had that stop penalty, didn't they, for the number 62 car. Jeff Segal had to serve a drive-through penalty. Still Nico Hülkenberg leads, however. A good lap last time around, 3 minutes 20.2. The gap back to 2nd place is sort of stabilised. 77 seconds on that last lap, 1 minute 17 seconds. And increasingly here that number 19 Porsche has got a pretty good little grip on this race. It certainly isn't comfortable by any means whatsoever, but the car has been steadily out there in front and maintaining that gap over the rest of the field. It'll oscillate back and forth a little bit according to whether or not they change tyres, but if they don't, then they can generally stay in front of the pursuing Audi.
Well, we talked about no sunrise this morning, but there's certainly a very spectacular sunburst up in those clouds hovering over the circuit. As we've heard earlier, could be nice, it could be a few spots of rain. Well, Martin has just morphed into the pride of Dublin. Here's Damien Faulkner back, looking fresh as a daisy. Damien, good morning.
Good morning. I think there'll be a few people from Donegal if they're listening. Not too happy with that.
Yeah, but you live in Dublin.
I do.
Yep.
Yep.
And we had you and Greg Murphy on last night, trying to form a new band called the New Dubliners. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's playing the drums.
So we come back to the circuit, Damien, and
yeah,
nothing had changed basically.
No, it's always mesmerising, isn't it, to think that you've been back sort of at the house, you've been to sleep. You've come back and still there's cars pounding around here, and pretty much in the same order. You're always expecting a change. You're always expecting sort of big news, right, lads? What's happened? Well, such and such has stopped, or so many people have stopped. Somebody crashed. Somebody had mechanical failure. There's always news, but it's just. It's the same. They're just pounding around.
There has been that, but just not in the prototype class. Certainly in GTE Pro, there was various dramas. We had a problem for the number 99 car in that he just made a brake pad change, went out of the pits and promptly forgot that they had fresh brakes on the car and clattered into the 2nd place car in P2. That was Tristan Gomondi in a Tyrrell by TDS car, took them out at the first chicane. So that took care of the 2nd place car in P2, put him way back down the order, and also the same effect also for Fernando Reis, a long stop to repair that car and put it way back in the order. At the same time, the Jordan Taylor car came in for a brake pad change, or moments after that, and that enabled the number 51 of course, a Ferrari to vault from third place in one lap up into the lead. So there were certain changes there, some interest in the GTE Pro, but the rest of it, you're right, it's been metronomic consistency by the leaders in all the categories, and the cars really have been running extraordinarily well.
And yeah. Damien, here is the Murphy prototype. We had a long chat with Greg on air last night.
Yeah, exactly. Proud team owner there. Always thankful to get the invite to come back here. Very humble lad. I'm always bugging him to get a few laps around here, but so far to no avail.
Well, third place at the moment. Karen Chanduk on board and looking very, very strong now after the problems they had in qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, they've had it sort of tough, but here this weekend, or even during the week, it's such a long event, isn't it? You forget that you've been here sort of practically most of the week. But yeah, so, you know, I suppose it wasn't a bad time to have a bit of misfortune, rather back then than perhaps during the race. That was quite a sizable shunt as well that Mark Patterson had through the Porsche curves. A lot of bodywork damage, and if you go down there, it's still, at least it was up until yesterday anyway, all sort of lined up along the truck. So they've done a great job to get that car back and get it competitive again.
They're in third place. Here's the second place in the category. And Sam Bird seems to have been driving this car the whole race. Every time I've been on air, it seems to have been Sam at the wheel. It's just the way it's fallen out. Julian Kamal, Roman Rusinov, his co-drivers. Sam, of course, is the most experienced of the drivers, not necessarily at Le Mans, but in terms of international racing, very, very strong Londoner.
Yeah, I think as Murray Walker said one time about Jan Alesi, Sam's flat out from when he gets up in the morning. I think he's always wanting to be behind the wheel, and a great talent, and great to see him doing well here.
Yeah, it must. Now you mentioned, I haven't seen much of Julian Canal's name on the scoring charts. I must admit, sharing that car, the 26 car, it has been most of it's been either Sam Bird or Roman Rusinov.
They probably can't get him out of the car. That was actually a question on Twitter that I've just answered, and perhaps answered wrongly. I know in the US, where I do most of my racing these days, you can only do 4 hours in any 6-hour period. What is the maximum driving time here for?
14 hours in the
over
race.
The whole thing. Okay.
And no more than 4 in 6. So,
okay, so at least I answered that right.
Pretty simple.
So Julian Canal, of course, the most successful of the three at Le Mans. He won GT1 in 2010 with Celine, and then came back the following year. And 2011 and 2012 with Labra Corvette, had 3 wins. So I mean, he's got an incredible record, Julian. Very unassuming driver, but he's just one of these niche drivers who's made his name in a particular category, and this has been a big jump for him up into Ligier this year.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, people can talk about luck, and you know, I kind of don't really like that word. But yeah, you can have good fortune, but at the end of the day, it's nobody is really lucky to win this race. I don't think. They create their own luck, right? And it's not achieved by, you know, constantly making mistakes. It's through sort of hard graft, a lot of effort, and few mistakes. And you know, as we see at the front, and you know, I was probably alluding more, Jeremy, you're right, towards the front of the grid with particularly Porsche, Audi, and Toyota when I said nothing really has changed, because those cars have been they're all, you know, some of these P2 cars, for example, have been in existence for a couple of years. A lot more technology, and I think it's probably closer to the edge, pushing the boundaries further, and you would think to the detriment of reliability or unreliability, but you know, it's great to see them with all this new hybrid technology, and here we are with just over 8 hours to go, and we have 3 Audis, 3 Porsches, and 2 Toyotas still there.
Yeah, the gap between the top 2 remains about 82 seconds at the moment.
Okay, you're doing a great job, buddy. Great job. Pace is very good. Pace is very good. Still having so much under here. There's 2 little CCRX. Cars are processing so well. Yeah, Nico, we can't help you anymore. We're at the limits of what we can do with the switch settings in the car. Always level low alarm. Always level low. Acknowledge, mate. Acknowledge. Continue.
Okay, that was, sorry Jeremy, but a radio message to Nico Hulkenberg, but fascinating sort of insight there into the driver's mindset. You know, they're telling him he's P1, it's his first time at Le Mans, he's doing an awesome job, lap times are great, and he's complaining about the car because he wants to just go faster. So it just goes to show you these drivers, you know, at the top of their game and at that level, they just want everything to be perfect and they just can't go fast enough.
No, that's right. His last 4 laps, 3 minutes 18.8, 20.2, 19.7, 19.8. That's pretty impressive. The 20.2, just over 20 seconds. 4 laps in a row with a little more than a second between them. That's stout going, because there's traffic on every lap here. Just a question of where you catch it. But he's extended his lead over second place Marcel Fassler by 10 seconds in actual fact over the last 4 or 5 laps. So he really has been trucking along there. As I say, that Marcel turns a good lap there, 3 minutes 20.7 that time around. But it's been a fine performance by all 3 drivers aboard that number 19 car: Nico Hulkenberg, Nick Tandy and Earl Bamber.
Yeah, well, of course, Nick is probably Nico Hulkenberg rather is probably the newest to the traffic issue, isn't he? So he's managing that really, really well.
Luca de Grassi then handing over to Ollie Jarvis.
We had a great chat with him, didn't we, Mark? Was it you were in Audi when he came in? Just such a humble guy, Ollie Jarvis. Great talent, great all-round guy. Yeah, I worked to see him getting this opportunity too.
I worked with him in DTM, and so helpful there, and just a guy just wanting to learn all the time, and he loved his time there. Now he's loving his time here with Audi at Le Mans, and still got that yellow flag out at. Slow zone's about to come up, have we? Something's happening at 33, 34. That's again coming out of Porsche curves. It's just coming past the karting track.
Well, that's all about.
Yeah, they've put the slow zone up now over 3 sectors.
There's one of the Audis, I think it's the number 7, missing an engine cover. Did that happen during the night on the right-hand side, just there? Or could that have just happened?
Very good question. I certainly hadn't noticed it until now. The camera's certainly focusing on it for the first time. Yeah, that's
lost the rear wheel cover.
It's actually, yeah, some of it's still lodged there.
That's not what that car needs.
Just see the eagle-eyed photographers now will be trying to dash into the inside of the circuit to get a picture of the engine department of that Audi.
The last lap for that car was a 3 minutes 27. So something must have happened. Because talk about the traffic there, had to back out quite a bit there to get past Jordan Taylor.
Yeah, and you see there, just in lapping that GT car there, he could have probably dived in, I think, but very, very patient this far into the race. That's really clever driving.
I'd suggest there's a connection between his missing rear bodywork and the slow zone coming up out of Porsche curves. There must be debris on the road.
Indeed, I would think so. That certainly would make sense. And
as we said, it
must be in a pretty tricky situation then when they're doing a slow zone.
That it flew off the car. Here's a scheduled stop again for car number 9. So that's stop number 20.
Here we go. Replay. There it goes.
Wow,
whole of the rear corners come off.
Just at the exit of the Porsche curves, right? Wow, that's very unusual for Audi. And you see there was an Aston that just came there. I think that just ran over a little bit of it with its right-hand wheel. So hopefully he hasn't picked up a puncture.
Well, we're going for a break. We'll be back after this. See what's going to happen to the number 7 Audi.
Losing a lot on the straight. There's no top speed anymore. But I think it's due to the aero, which is fixing.
Okay, understood, Marcel. Stay off the radio for a second.
Well, just in the break, you've been seeing number 7 car, Benoit Trullier, coming in, back end to be changed, and a little bit of panic in the back of the garage. Sorry, Marcel Fassler on board. Thank you for pointing that out. It's a car that Benoit had earlier handed over, and that whole body section had ripped off on one side and then damaged the other quite heavily. And we saw the garage shots. Ralf Juttner on the right there shouting. The guy in the middle in the glasses shouting, do this, do that, and the other. And crew chief Jörg Dingeldine, of course, overseeing this operation.
Yeah, and this is a whole test of stamina, really. I mean, don't forget, this is the second day. We're into the second day of this same race. This race started yesterday. There's, oh, what is that?
It's a replay of an incident earlier on.
The front suspension has collapsed, I think, on that Rebellion. Yeah, there's a real test of stamina, really, and cool heads, because you know, at 3 o'clock yesterday, this race started. It's still going on. That we're into another day. It's daylight again, and this entire crew have to come together. You know, they have to change the bodywork. They have to make sure that, you know, that there's not something further wrong. Here's radio.
But that's basically.
So that's Nico Hulkenberg being asked to box this lap for refuel. Quite early in the lap there, it's just coming out of the first chicane. So yeah, so we don't know actually what caused that bodywork to fly off. And as you quite rightly spotted, Mark, I think the left-hand side of it was damaged as well. There was certainly a lot of it wedged under the wing, so it was like a parachute. No wonder he was complaining about being slow in a straight line, but that could have been debris from another car, Jeremy, through the night. Who knows?
Possibly, yeah, and or maybe just something like a fitment failed on the car. Unlikely, but certainly possible. They've done a massive amount of testing to get ready for this race. Endurance tests lasting as long as 30 hours, I believe. Mark, is that correct? And
yep.
They've certainly they put this car through its paces very much so to get ready for this race. But certainly a failure of some sort there. I mean, that's an area on the car that's unlikely to be caused by any contact with anything else. Just it came adrift for some reason, and that's going to cost them dearly. The car is is still in the pit lane. So it's a lengthy pit stop for Marcel Fassler, and he's only 8 laps into his stint.
Yeah, and they're just
very costly.
Just about to drop 2 laps off the leaders now, aren't they? But it looked from what Ralph Jutner was pointing at, whatever the problem is, it's in the centre of the car. So there's something at the back. There's something they're all looking at right in the middle of the back of the car.
Fancy it's a fixing point there.
Yeah.
And of course, for those viewers who are perhaps a little bit new to this, and there's a bit of debris, Patrick Dempsey.
That is the debris from the Audi, which they haven't picked up yet. So
that's Tete Rouge.
Oh no, it's not Tete Rouge.
Yeah,
you're right.
Maybe there's it could be
more came off it.
Could be more.
Yeah.
But Patrick Dempsey having to take a rather unusual line to navigate his way through there. But
look at the classification.
And there is that number 7 car. Of course, this was a little while ago. This is no longer so, because the number 7 car's now tumbled down to 4th place, about to fall off the lead lap, and Ollie Jarvis will go past that while it sits in the garage.
So I was just saying there, that number the 7 Audi of Marcel Fassler, they've wheeled the car into the garage because, of course, they're restricted by the number of mechanics and crew they can have in the pit lane. So if they get the car back in again, it can be all hands on deck and a quicker turnaround. And you see the little caster wheels with the little trolleys that they just insert, and they turn the car around on its axis, wheel it in, and it'll be out again in no time. Although, as Jeremy says, it's rather long, so there might be some sort of fastening issue there.
Remember, we've also got a slow car on the circuit, Alexandre Imperatori, in that rebellion with the collapsed front right suspension, which took him off the track at La Chapelle. Lucky to get that back onto the road. Here we go, they're coming back out in the 7 car. But that's cost them dearly. Jeremy, that car has now dropped down to 260 laps, 2 laps off race leader.
Yeah,
Hulkenberg.
Did they might have changed, oh no, 57 seconds, that pit stop for Nico Hulkenberg. And yeah, the length of the pit stop for Marcel Fassler still yet to show up.
Yeah.
It was a previous stop.
He's just on his way, so there you go.
6:56.
Yeah, almost 7 minutes. That's a lengthy stop.
That's two laps.
Well, when you consider last night, when which car was it went off? Was it that one?
Number 8 car it was.
The number 8 went off, and it had a big crash. As we see Lena Gay down, she's probably asking what was going on and wanting an update.
With the technical director Ralph Jutner there.
Yeah, with crew chief Jörg Dingeldine.
Yeah. So now there are 2 cars on the lead lap. Just Nico Hulkenberg now and René Rast. Hulkenberg in the Porsche, so a little more debris down here.
This is the Tete Rouge. We saw this just earlier, didn't we? That we might be other bits of the Audi that fell off as he continued the lap. Might be something else.
There's a little bit of yellow.
Slow zone there. There we go. Nice job, sir.
Can't see. No,
a great, fabulous job the marshals do here. That's a shout out from all over the world. A lot of marshals here from the UK, a lot obviously from France, from Germany, from all over Europe. And what a job these guys do. They, guys and girls. Let me misspoke there. But there's a hardy band of enthusiasts here. It's great to see. They've got so much enthusiasm in the sport, and without them, our sport wouldn't be possible. So hats off to every single one of them.
Yeah, here.
I can give you the figures. There's 2,000 marshals at 150 posts around the track, plus all the paddock marshals, and then all the people who look after security, crowd control.
That's quite incredible. Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw that there. It looked to be sort of a little bit of colour yellow on that little bit of debris that was there. It looked like a wing end plate or something. I'm just having a look at the spotter's guide here to see. That's a yellow prototype just there. I'm not sure if something fell off that one.
Well, it looked like a yellow panel that Marshall picked up, didn't it?
Yeah. Was that Jose Ibanez's car? And he's done a really nice job.
Yeah, the 45. That's
6, 7, 8th place in P2 for that pretty much unheralded team. Jose Ibanez, Pierre Perret, and Ivan Bellarosa. 2 bronze drivers. Ivan Bellarosa, the slightly more experienced silver driver, and Ibanez's father was a Porsche and Ferrari mechanic, and Jose himself has taken on that team. They run the team in sports car racing, run a lot of V2V races over the last 10 years or so, all three of these guys, and gave them a very good account of themselves this weekend. They had a problem in the warm-up yesterday morning. Throttle cable broke on that car, but they fixed that for the race, got them out, and its car's running very nice. Had a few niggly problems, but nothing too serious.
A great shot of an example of how patient Nico Hülkenberg has had to be there through the Porsche curves. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it is indeed the 45.
That's Ibanez's car, yep.
He's lost a bit of rear bodywork there. It was lucky none of those guys went off.
It's obviously that time of morning now where they're throwing off their clothing, isn't it? So they're going on the track.
The temperatures are coming up.
Yeah, it's certainly Marcel Fassler has dropped to 5th place. Ollie Jarvis did get just ahead of him after that. So the chances of number 7 having another win here at Le Mans are fading fast. Mind you, we've still got 8 hours almost to go. There's the Collis car still running. Had lots of engine problems earlier in the evening. I seem to put those behind them. But the good news for Nissan is both Nissans are ahead of the Collis car at the moment.
Yeah, and probably more importantly to them right now, still in the race, to be honest.
Yep. Even though you don't like the fact they're here.
No. That's unfair. No, it's.
You were just agreeing with Hugh Chamberlain out of politeness last night. Hugh's feeling was that they shouldn't be here on what he saw as a test session, not a serious race attempt.
Well, I'm sure their intentions weren't to come here and have a test. I'm sure their intentions were. And their aspirations were slightly above, and there's a yellow flag.
Yeah, that's in the middle of Porsche curves.
Another one. So we just saw, sorry.
Track clear now in zone 33, so that debris apparently has either been removed or has removed itself somehow, perhaps with assistance from another car.
So we just saw in that shot, if I just go back about half a lap, Nico Hülkenberg, he was coming up to lap the Toyota and the Krone P2 car, and he had to be so patient. I'm sure that he wanted to just get past as quickly as possible, but what happened was the Toyota got past the Krone car, and then Nico had to basically follow the Krone car around. Obviously he's much faster, but he just has to be very patient.
Well, that.
This is a 55 Ferrari just going off there. That's
just being frightened off the road, wasn't he? Suddenly had his mirrors full of LMP2 cars. And
yeah, and I'm not sure that he fully recognised that there was 2 of them there, but the second one was coming through here, some radio for the number 7.
So Marcel Fassler quickly back up to speed. Well, that's to the point, isn't it? No complaints.
No complaints. I mean, Lena Gade is really, really clear and concise on the radio. Every message that she transmits, she's really, really good. To the point all the time. No nonsense. And Marcel Fassler there, that was a bit of a sort of a subdued reply, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, this time last year, Lena Gade, we were told quite clearly, was heading for Formula One, and yet here she still is, running the 7-car.
She's done fabulously well. I mean, it's great. I'm sure it's more male-dominated than female, but I remember her and her sister Tina, who was involved in Formula Parma Audi when I was racing there. God, we were all kids back then. But
Tina now doing the same job in the World Rally Championship. So.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. Fantastic. 2 very talented girls, I have to say.
Girl power at Le Mans and in rallying. Hülkenberg then leads from Raston Weber. It's Porsche, Audi, Porsche after 254 laps here at the 83rd Le Mans. 7 hours and 50 still to go, and it's been an extraordinary race. Just nobody wanting to blink at the moment. If you do blink, though, as Marcel Fassler found out, you lose big time. He dropped from 2nd place down into 5th. and he's lost 2 laps, which are going to be very, very hard to claw back. Unless, of course, Jeremy, the cars ahead have a similar problem to him.
Well, that's what it's going to take, because if somebody makes a mistake, or there's some sort of finger trouble, or something gets, a wheel nut doesn't get tightened up or something like that. I mean, anything is possible in this sport. So you just keep on running as fast as you possibly can. It's been an excellent performance by all of these teams. I mean, the cars are clearly been brilliantly prepared. They do an awful lot of testing to get ready for this race, a huge amount of resources. But this is why they do it, because they want to win the Le Mans 24-hour race, and they leave no stone unturned.
And that includes, of course, the Extreme Motorsport cars running in Rolling Stone colours.
Yep, no Rolling Stones unturned. Absolutely right.
So I couldn't resist
Ed
that.
Brown is at the wheel again of the number 31 car. It's pointed in the right direction. Good to see.
Yeah, and we were just trying to work out why they were painted in the Rolling Stones colours. Fair enough, they can't advertise alcohol, but they could have just taken the stickers off. But we think it's something to do with maybe a link between Tequila Patron and Rolling Stones, maybe advertising or something like that. So just an interesting angle.
Well, they're certainly running they've been running a big promo on the front covers, and we have told the story before. First ever Rolling Stone magazine had John Lennon on the front cover. Now it's the turn of Scott Sharp and Ed Brown and co. So
Brilliant
with that car. Oh, another off, and this is.
I think that's.
That's a repeat of
the Rebellion.
Yeah. Nico Prost's earlier indiscretion.
You see, he's got it into reverse very quickly, but it's beached.
Did a good job turning that round, but the other car, the Alexander Imperatori car, this is the one that had the collapsed front suspension, and
yeah, number 13 car's just sort of limped its way around. That's John Robinson, I think, isn't it? They're the race engineer.
Yeah, of course, James was engineer for the McLaren, which won here in 1995 when he was working for McLaren. Yes, on the Ueno Clinic car.
Spent a fair bit of time at Williams too in the F1 team, didn't he?
That's right. So Mark Howson still leading from Sam Bird. It's an English-speaking 1-2 at the moment in LMP2, and well, in fact 3 now, because Karen Chanduk has just moved up into 3rd place. Oliver Turvey in 4th, and Gustav Jackermann was 3rd just a moment ago. That car's dropped down to 5th, so I guess they've been going through pit stop cycles. Kevin Estray in 6th, and another Brit, Danny Watts, in the Stracker Dome in 7th in P2, 15th overall. Good to see the Dome still running well.
Yeah, they've had a sort of a difficult time, haven't they, getting that car ready. It's a long way behind schedule, but it's run very nicely in this race. They had a couple of dramas early on, but they've kept their noses clean and done well. It's the KCMG car, the number 47 Orica Nissan, has been very much the class of the field. It was in qualifying and also in the race too. It's holding an advantage of just over a lap over Sam Bird in the G Drive car number 26. Karun Chandhok in the Murphy Prototypes open top Orica Nissan in the 3rd place, another lap behind, and the gap from Karun Chandhok to Gustavo Jackermann in the 2nd of the G Drive Ligiers is about a minute 21 seconds between 3rd and 4th in P2.
Meanwhile, back in GTE Pro, Fisichella and the number 51 Ferrari is in the lead there. 1 minute and 5 seconds ahead of Corvette's Oliver Gavin. And look who's in 3rd place. The Porsche that wasn't very fast in qualifying, but they're always there or thereabouts more often than not.
So 7 hours and 45 minutes remaining here at this 24-hour race. Nico Hulkenberg continues to reel off the laps at the front of the field. 3 minutes 21.9 that time around. Again, the gap now back to 2nd place, over 2 minutes. So he's been pulling up out a fair bit of ground now over René Rast in the last few laps. Last time, the times, but the 2 lap times of those 2 cars pretty much identical, but the gap has gone up a fair bit. We've seen the pretty much demise of number 7 car that was running in 2nd place until 5 laps ago, but that car has lost 2 laps on pit lane and now down into the 5th place.
It's just incredible. If you look at the top 4, Jeremy, you're talking about lap times. On the last lap, half a second between the top 4 on that lap.
Yeah, they've been remarkably consistent all the way through. There's number 47. That's the class leader again in P2. Comes in for a pit stop. Matt House and vacates the cockpit.
Class of the weekend in P2.
Oh, absolutely. They've just done a masterful job, start to finish. Richard Bradley hops aboard that car. He was the pole sitter. Did an absolutely magnificent job in qualifying and has done the same in the race as well. All 3 drivers have been right on the mark, turning very, very good laps, very consistent laps. Matt House and the least experienced of the drivers, but you wouldn't have known that from looking at his lap times, his consistency, and the way he's handled himself during this race.
And that's a replay from the ESM. We just have a question on Twitter. Why are there so few car manufacturers at Le Mans? Whereas Peugeot or Citroën or even Lamborghini?
Well, Lamborghini's racing in GT3. They prefer to do that, as do Audi, as do McLaren. They find private team owners find the cost of GTE just so expensive compared with GT3, and this has been why they had convergence talks last year. They collapsed, unfortunately, trying to get a common category for world GT racing with Le Mans and with the American series, Tudor series, which both Jeremy and Damien, of course, take part in. But that's the reason Lamborghini is developing its Huracan, which is the V10 powered car. It's got Audi running gear underneath it, but it is still a Lamborghini, of course, owned by the same company. And that basically is why you have got a lot of manufacturers here, but more would come if GTE wasn't so expensive.
Meanwhile, we're just doing a little bit of
housekeeping.
Bit of housekeeping on our TV screens.
Here, Damien.
Watch this out. Hold it.
So, Damien, I hope that answers the question. It comes down to cost, basically. Customers will buy a Lamborghini Huracan for GT3 racing, but they could no way afford it with GT because they're going to have all racing parts.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Actually, we had that discussion last night, and I think you're 100% right.
So we're still working on Nico Prost's car. That front suspension collapse. Very fortunately, a part of the circuit had a very large gravel runoff. Spectators still sleeping off last night's beers. Be a while before they're awake. And that's on the section between Indianapolis and Denarge. And in fact, as we say that, we go on board with the 64 Corvette, the Pratt & Miller factory entry. Ollie Gavin now at the wheel after another long shift by Jordan Taylor.
Without his dog.
Without his dog, Fonzie, yes. So the Corvette, the race gradually coming back to them. Fisichella and Ollie Gavin on the same lap, 64 seconds apart. Michael Christensen shadowing them, but he is a lap down on them. And Fisichella doing such a good job on his return to Le Mans. He only has occasional races now with AF Corsa, but when he does, he always seems to come up with the goods.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, comes from the top drawer, doesn't he, Fisichella? So it's just looking at the timesheets in GTE, the leaderboard. Pedro Lamy in the Aston. Unlike his teammates in the Pro class, he's got that Aston in P1 again. It's practically been up there all week, hasn't it? He's had a sort of he's had chicken pox off the track, and he's always been fastest on the track, so that's good. And Andrea Bertolini in the Ferrari, number 72, who's just been in for a pit stop and is on his outlap. And then that number 77 of Patrick Dempsey and Patrick Long, the Porsche Works driver, of course. That car has been hovering, Jeremy, in 3rd and 4th position for this entire race, and that's a really good omen. I mean, that just sort of shows the consistency of that effort.
Last year they pretty much did the last couple of years they've pretty much done the same, haven't they, I think, with that team, and they certainly would love to finish on the podium here, no doubt about that. Patrick Dempsey at the wheel of that number 77 car at the moment, but Townsend Bell isn't too far behind, about 30 seconds behind him, and closing quite quickly. But Townsend just heard his best lap of the race so far last time around. He's got the bit between his teeth.
Yeah, we just saw the number 9 Audi of Rennie Rast there coming out of the first chicane, and as Murphy's Law would have it, nothing to do with Greg, I don't think. You know, there's a GT car or another P2 car passing a GT car, and of course it was Rennie made it 3 wide by using the hard shoulder. Not for the first time. We saw him last night doing that as well, didn't we? The exact same spot.
So we're on board with Michael Christensen just then. He's just off that GT lead lap. Good job though by the Porsche Junior, 24 years old.
Yeah, another great guy, fully deserving of that opportunity. But it's crazy. You think, I mean, more often than not, Porsche, despite what level of performance they have in terms of speed and lap time, towards the end of the race, they're never far away, are they?
Yep.
They're sitting there in a potential podium position at the moment from being well, way down in qualifying.
And of course the sister car to this, Patrick Pilet, massive engine explosion yesterday afternoon, which put a couple of LMP2, well, one LMP2 and one of the Rebellions off the track. Very, very messy affair, and spent a long time cleaning up the oil that car had left.
Yeah, and of course then we saw the Proton, I think, Porsche have an engine failure as well. So I wonder how Porsche are they still nervous about this car, or you know, was it just like for the first hour or so after the first failure? But I mean, yeah,
there was another one later on. There was another one this morning as well.
Oh, yeah,
Christian Reed's car expired, expensive as well. Car number 88, the second of the.
Yeah, we saw that last night. Yeah, or
so
earlier.
That 83 car that Michael was just having a drag race down the road with. It just shows that there is no real difference between an AM car and a Pro car. The cars are exactly the same.
Well, the cars can be exactly the same, yeah.
It's the driver, and it's Francois Perraudot, who's less experienced. Again, another driver from Singapore, like Richard Bradley, 38 years old, on board that Ferrari. As in comes Michael Christensen then, make his next stop going through their cycle. Christensen has already had 17 stops. It is 17 now. Ollie Gavin is on 16, so that battle's going to continue, isn't it?
Yeah, and just interestingly there, and this has been a trend throughout the whole race, but when these guys have been called for a pit stop, their second sector has normally been their quickest sector, and there you see it. Michael Christensen just posted his fastest second sector. He's low on fuel, he's gotten the call to come in, and it's just right, all hands on deck here. I'm not going to leave an inch. I just maximise every millimetre on the track and every second of time to get into the pits.
James Collado then coming past the start-finish line. James running down in 4th place at the moment behind Christensen, but he's 2 or 3 laps back on him, Jeremy.
Yes, he has had some delay earlier in the race, and can't remember what it was, to be perfectly honest, but yeah, pretty solid run, and just maybe 2 laps off the pace here in GT Pro, but find himself 4th place in the class. Now look at the Corvette on a replay using all the road there.
Brilliant. You can see the driver focused there in the 51. That was Fisichella.
Such a distinctive style he has, Fisichella, doesn't he? You can always recognise him in a car.
Yeah, I guess so. But just a true professional. And then he's coming up there to lap think that's him, is it? Coming up to lap Jerome Blake-Mullen, who's sitting in 5th place behind Townsend Bell. Another team, Townsend Bell and Bill Sweetler, going well, coming over from the US. That's their first time here.
And you raced against this car in the States?
Well, not that car. It seems like that car.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe it is. Maybe it's the same car. That's why they've got so much speed over there. Yeah, no, it's you know, fabulous team. Bill O'Reilly runs a great organisation, and that's been sort of scaled down from the factory team. However, a lot of those guys have moved over to Ben Keating's car. So in actual fact, their team is pretty goddamn good in the US.
Oh yeah,
sure.
it was Riley Motorsports. It was the same team, exactly the same team that ran the factory cars for Viper up until last year. As you say, won the championship in the United Sports Car Championship over in the States, and then abruptly had the rug pulled out from underneath their feet just the day after the final race of the season. They just finished the championship, and then they were told that they were out of a job. But Bill Riley kept on quite a few of the guys, many as he could, and they put together a deal to run Ben Keating and Jerome Blake-Mullen in the entire Tudor United Sports Car Championship, but in the GTD class rather than a GTE class. So this, though, is the GTE car that raced last year. In actual fact, this is a car that raced as a number 91 car, I think, last year. Had a couple of third place, a couple of wins, and a fair amount of success, and it's certainly shown well here.
And of course, Bill Riley, the name, part of the name behind Riley and Scott, one of the most iconic of American sports cars, multiple Daytona 24-hour winners and IMSA championship winners. Cars were so good that some teams in Europe started bringing them over here to take on the Ferrari 333s. And so Riley and Scott be a name that will last forever in sports car history.
Yeah, that particular car raced as a number 91 car last year. So it finished third at Daytona, actually, and at Petit Le Mans last year. It was actually the dominant car at Daytona, looking good for a win there, until they had a power steering failure in the relative late stages of that race. It's certainly a car with some provenance, and it's showing very, very well indeed. And those guys, super helpful they were yesterday. They'd like to be known as the most helpful and friendly of the American teams. It's not running a Corvette, and
not painted yellow.
Without not painted yellow.
So you've probably spotted the director's having American hour at the moment. He's now picked up on Pat Dempsey, having run through the cycle of all the American entries, Corvettes, Riley Vipers, and then Pat Dempsey. That car's still going strong. Patrick actually at the wheel at the moment, running third in and that, you know, he's got a potential podium there, which would be a great result. Yeah, well, we've just spoken about that car. I mean, it's been hovering around that third, fourth area for the entire race, really. And yeah, that's just really, really consistent. And as Jeremy rightly pointed out, that's been sort of the trend for the last few years of that particular effort. So Pedro de la Llana on board the lead Aston Martin, that class, from Andrea Bertolini Ferrari. So very nicely spread out, that Aston, Ferrari and Porsche.
14 seconds behind us. That 17 car ahead of us is exactly 1 lap ahead.
So that's Ollie Jarvis's manager. Well, it's not actually Justin speaking just then. Bastian Leiter, I think, probably who's also involved in the team there, as we have a Audi sandwiching a couple of LMP2s. And look at the power now, this hybrid power.
Yeah, crazy acceleration, isn't it? It's just unbelievable. And that was a P2, I think.
And that car just picks up its skirts and goes up to 333 kilometers an hour, but braking heavily for the Porsche curves.
I'm losing time for high, but I've got too much understeer to get close.
Ollie Jarvis.
Yeah, he says he's picking up a lot of understeer when he gets close. So presumably that's in the turbulent air behind the 17 he's talking about. So he's trying to unlap himself from that particular car. And then he was just told he was 14 or 15 seconds ahead of the sister car, Marcel Fassler.
So it's Porsche, Audi, Porsche at the moment, but it's recycling on virtually every lap as they make their pit stops. The pit stops now, 20 to Porsche, 20 to Audi, the first and second cars, 21 to Mark Webber in the third car. Of course, they had to make an extra stop because of that penalty they took. Ollie Jarvis
22
on
then
22.
Yeah, 22 in total. They
Yep.
I noticed that they only count, they don't count the penalty stops as amongst the pit stops there.
All right.
So it's actually made one more than that. Or been on pit lane one more time than that, let's put it that way.
So the sun is starting to come out now. It's breaking through the clouds to the